Hey, race fans! Buckle up because today we're diving into something legendary, Daddy Dave's old Goliath Nova and its brand new Roots-blown setup. This car has seen it all, and now it's making waves again, this time with a whole new look and powertrain. If you thought Goliath was done after leaving Daddy Dave's hands, think again. Now, for those of you who may not remember, Daddy Dave's Goliath was an absolute beast back in No Prep Kings and street racing. This wasn't just any car, it was a machine that went toe-to-toe with the toughest competition out there. But a while back, Dave decided to part ways with it, selling it to a new owner in Brazil. And while that might have seemed like the end of the story, trust me, it's only the beginning. Before we get into the latest changes, let's take a trip down memory lane. Goliath has gone through several different setups over the years. It started off with a 632 cubic inch nitrous-fed engine, then transitioned to a ProCharged big block Chevy, courtesy of Scott and Dickey Performance Parts. Then came the next big leap. Dave swapped in a ProCharged 481X, a combination that gave the car some serious horsepower. But it didn't stop there. The car evolved yet again with twin turbos on that same 481X before ultimately receiving a ProCharged Hemi setup. At every stage, Goliath was a monster on the track. When Dave was running the ProCharged Hemi, this car was consistently putting down numbers in the 3.70s, which is seriously fast for an NPK-style setup. It was loud, aggressive, and intimidating, just the way we like it. So, when the car was sold and sent off to Brazil, a lot of us thought that was the end of Goliath's reign. But the new owners had other plans. Initially, they kept the same ProCharged Hemi setup that Daddy Dave used in No Prep Kings, but now they've decided to take things in a completely different direction. Instead of sticking with the ProCharger, they've opted for Mike Janis Roots blower setup. Now, if you've been following the NPK scene closely, you'll recognize that name. Cody Baker, Adam Jennings, and Tim Brown have all run similar combinations in the past, and now Goliath is joining the club. While we haven't gotten a full close-up of the engine, it's almost certainly still the same Proline Hemi, just now topped with a massive Roots blower instead of a ProCharger. This is where things get really interesting. If we're talking about pure horsepower, the ProCharger setup, especially if they were running the big 1401 unit, would likely make more power. The ProCharger is just more efficient. Yes, a Roots blower can make a ton of boost, but it also heats up the air significantly and takes a lot of power to drive. That means, in terms of outright performance, this new setup might not be quite as fast as the ProCharged version of Goliath. So why make the switch? Well, one big reason could be reliability. Word on the street is that in Brazil, they were having some issues with breaking ProCharger units. A Roots blower, while maybe not quite as efficient, is a much more straightforward and durable option. It delivers instant power and can take a beating, which is crucial in the high-stakes world of no time and no prep racing. Here's where things get really exciting. While the Roots blower setup is a cool move, there's a chance this could just be a stepping stone to something even wilder. If the new owners really want to push Goliath to its limits, the next logical step would be a screw blower. Now, if you know anything about drag racing, you know that screw blowers are a whole different animal. They're more efficient than a Roots blower, make insane power, and could help bring Goliath back to the level it was at with Daddy Dave. If they go this route, we could be looking at a serious contender in big money grudge racing and no-time events. Now, let's talk about aesthetics for a second. Some people argue that putting a massive blower on a car like Goliath takes away from its original look, but personally, I love seeing that big blower sticking out of the hood. There's just something about a Roots or screw blower that screams raw horsepower, and it gives the car that undeniable old-school drag racing presence. And the sound? Oh man, if you've never heard a Roots-blown Hemi in person, you're missing out. These things are ungodly loud. Every time one of these cars fires up, it's like thunder shaking the ground. Even in the world of high horsepower drag racing, the sound of a Roots or screw-blown Hemi is in a league of its own. So, what does the future hold for Daddy Dave's former but still legendary Goliath Nova? Right now, it looks like the new owners are experimenting with setups, and this Roots-blown combo is just the latest chapter in the car's long history of evolution. But whether they stick with it or eventually move to a screw blower, one thing is for sure, Goliath is far from done. For those of us who followed this car during its Street Outlaws and NPK days, it's awesome to see it still making noise on the track. And who knows? Maybe one day, we'll even see Daddy Dave behind the wheel of Goliath again. What do you guys think? Will the Roots-blown setup be a game changer, or is it just a temporary experiment? And do you think we'll see Goliath upgraded to a screw blower in the near future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on all things Street Outlaws. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Dear friends, when it comes to pushing the limits of street and no-prep racing, few names command as much respect as Daddy Dave. Known for his incredible skill, adaptability, and fearless attitude behind the wheel, Dave has dominated the Street Outlaw scene for years. But in 2025, he's making a bold move. He's entering the No Time 275 class with his No Prep Kings Audi. This is a huge shift, and it's got fans buzzing with anticipation. Can Daddy Dave make a successful transition to small tires? Will his Audi be up for the challenge? And what does this mean for his performance in No Prep Kings Season 8? Let's break it all down. Before we dive into Daddy Dave's move, let's talk about what No Time 275 racing is all about. No Time racing is a high-stakes form of drag racing where elapsed times are not displayed. This makes races more about strategy, tuning, and driver skill rather than just numbers. The 275 class refers to the 275mm drag radial tires the cars must use. Unlike the big tire monsters we see in No Prep Kings, these are smaller tires, meaning less traction and more emphasis on chassis setup and driving precision. Some of the biggest payouts in drag racing happen in No Time events. Big money grudge races, side bets, and intense rivalries make this one of the most exciting forms of racing today. Now, Daddy Dave is throwing his hat into the ring, bringing his No Prep Kings Audi into this world of cutthroat competition. If you followed No Prep Kings over the past year, you know that Daddy Dave's journey with the Audi has been anything but smooth. At the start of the season, Dave opted for a twin-turbo setup, hoping to keep up with the growing competition. Unfortunately, it didn't perform as expected. The car struggled with consistency, and Dave found himself playing catch-up. Midway through the season, he switched to a ProCharger, a move that many racers have made for its reliability and power delivery. However, because of all the changes to the chassis, engine placement, and overall setup, he was still behind the curve. The results? He didn't even qualify for the No Prep Elite Top 16. That's a rare sight for a driver of Dave's caliber. But if there's one thing we know about Daddy Dave, it's that he doesn't back down from a challenge. Instead of sticking with what wasn't working, he's adapting it again, this time, by swapping the Audi over to a 275 radial tire setup for No Time racing. At first glance, putting the Audi on small tires might seem like a strange decision. This car was built for the big tire, No Prep world of No Prep Kings, so why take it into a radial class? We've already seen that some No Prep Kings cars work extremely well on small tires. Look at Prep, a car originally built for NPK but later switched to a radial setup. It has been dominant on 275s, proving that it's possible to transition successfully. If the Audi follows that trend, it could be a serious threat in No Time 275. Let's be real, Dave didn't have the season he wanted in 2024. Instead of continuing to struggle with the Audi in NPK, he's making a smart move by testing it in a different arena. With No Time 275, he can refine the car's performance in a new environment while still staying competitive. If it works well, he could return to No Prep Kings stronger than ever in the future. No Time 275 isn't just about bragging rights, it's about big money. With some of the highest paying grudge races in drag racing, this class offers serious earning potential. For a driver like Daddy Dave, who thrives under pressure, this is a golden opportunity to prove himself in a new way while cashing in on high-stakes racing. Of course, this move isn't without its challenges. The Audi has never raced on anything other than a big tire, and switching to a radial tire setup requires major adjustments. Here are some of the key obstacles Dave will have to overcome. Traction differences. Radials are much more sensitive to track conditions than big tires. The Audi suspension will need to be fine-tuned for optimal weight transfer. Power management. Dave's ProCharger setup makes a ton of horsepower, but he'll have to carefully control wheel speed to avoid spinning. Competition. The No Time 275 class is filled with seasoned radial racers who know exactly how to tune for these conditions. Dave will be entering a field of specialists, so he'll need to learn fast. But if there's anyone who can rise to the occasion, it's Daddy Dave. At the end of the day, Daddy Dave is a racer's racer. He's been through the highs and lows of competitive drag racing, and his ability to adapt, learn, and come back stronger is what makes him one of the best. Will the Audi thrive on radials? Will Dave finally get the results he's been chasing? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, this move to No Time 275 is one of the most exciting developments in drag racing for 2025. So what do you think? Will Daddy Dave's Audi be a contender in the No Time 275 world? Or will this be just another experiment before returning to big tires? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on Daddy Dave's racing journey.